Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I'm your host, Tal, and with me here today, Jenny. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Jenny Geist. I'm a video essay YouTube lady. I've done videos on all types of things like movies, internet culture, like just general, like nerdy, interesting cultural stuff. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're talking about a couple of movies today. First being the very first Legally Blonde movie. Legally Blonde, we're talking about it. Because
Yes.
I have it on DVD, so this is perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, so I guess to get us started, why did you get us started, Jenny? What are your opening thoughts on Legally Blonde?
Sure. It's actually one of my favorite movies, which is not something you hear super often. It's often thought of as more of a guilty pleasure movie, but
Hmm.
like in my mind, it's one of those simple, like high concept movies that has a great script, great performances. It's a type of film we don't see super often anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like along the lines of like When Harry Met Sally, Big, Mean Girls, Elf, where it's just it's timeless. It holds up well now, and I genuinely do love it. Like I wouldn't even say it's nostalgia because I watched it for the first time like not that like when I was like 18 or so. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like it wasn't like a thing where I watched it when I was a kid and I'm like nostalgia blind for it. Not that that's a bad thing, but no,
Right.
like I was just impressed because it was genuinely like a great film. So I'm very glad that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, no, the first time I watched it would have been 2 years ago, back in 2023. Because the story goes, when Barbenheimer was happening, I I was on vacation and I went to a local drive-in theater and I saw Barbenheimer on the same day. I went to the actual movie theater that's there and I saw Oppenheimer in the morning. Loved it. Then the drive-in that was in the back of that movie theater that night had a double feature showing of both Barbie and Legally Blonde. And
Oh,
me and my sisters went, I mean, we can't pass that up. So we just went and we saw Barbie. We liked it. And my sisters had seen Legally Blonde before. I had never. So this was my introduction to Legally Blonde. And I watched it and I liked it a lot. I really liked Legally Blonde a lot. I thought you bring up an interesting point of it. You know, we like it even though we're watching it as adults because we didn't grow up being nostalgic for it. I am semi nostalgic for the type of film it is. It is very early 2000s. And I love that
yes,
era of
yes.
filmmaking. So I'm nostalgic for that. But yeah, no, I watched this as an adult like a couple years back. So, but even as my first time watching it, and this is my second time watching it for the podcast. Yeah, no, I think it holds up exceptionally well. I think it's hilarious. I think it is a very solid script for what it is. And yeah,
hmm it's even like referenced in Save the Cat, which is considered like the screenwriting book.
mm,
Like it because of how like it's cleanly split into a three act structure. It has really good pacing, really understandable motivations. Like that's something that always really impresses me when I rewatch it. It's a very good crowd pleaser, which is something that is difficult to do.
mm.
It's underrated. Like it is difficult to create like a crowd pleasing comedy, which is why we don't see them that often anymore.
Right, yeah. I think because we are so opinionated nowadays, it's kind of hard to have that crowd pleasing everybody come to the theater and enjoy the same thing kind of movie. I mean,
Yeah,
occasionally you get that, but
yeah.
it's
Like we,
not
we
as
don't get movies
often.
that hit the zeitgeist like that. Like
Right.
I was trying to think of more recent comparisons, and
Hmm.
like it is a little harder. Like I'd say maybe I could like say like Challengers was kind of like that. That got a lot of discussion, a lot of memeing. Well, and like, but like even like recent comedies like Bottoms, that's a great film. It's a hilarious film, but I
Hmm.
don't see much discussion of it because it wasn't like a huge box office hit. It's a great film, but it's not one that people talked about all over. Where this was one that really did like hit the zeitgeist. I mean, it helps that Reese Witherspoon was a huge star at the time, and she
Yeah.
is really great in this film too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think comedies nowadays they're definitely not going to hit the same way that they probably would have back in the day. I mean, occasionally you do get like a huge comedy hit. Hundreds of Beavers is another good example of that.
Ah, that's a great film.
Yeah, I love it so much. But to talk about Legally Blonde, I do think it's, I mean, first of all, it's just a funny concept. You have this Valley
Oh yeah,
girl
yeah.
going to Harvard. Like, that's basically, I assume that's what they came up with first. They're like, what if person who's not normally in this situation would be in that situation? And you go from there. But I think they actually do make it just an interesting story besides it just being a comedy. Because yes, it is funny seeing Elle, this California Valley girl, go to Harvard University to be this distinguished lawyer. Like, that's funny inherently. But then you actually
Hmm.
do want to root for Elle when she actually gets there and she's kind of belittled by her peers, but she actually does start to actually gain momentum when she actually puts in the effort to become a lawyer.
It's a great progression where obviously initially it's the breakup. She wants to do it to get back with him, which I
Hmm.
think anyone can relate to. It's a good like initial starting point.
Yeah.
But they don't like rest on that for too long either though.
Hmm.
Like about like at the end of like around I would say like the first act or middle of the second act is when she has her moment where like she realizes Warner's never going to respect her and she's like, "You know what? I'm going to do this for me," which
Hmm.
is a great turning point, especially because that's when they bring in the stuff with her friend who was on the trial. So the motivation changes from I'm gonna do this to get back with my ex to I'm gonna do this because I want to do the right thing. So it really does have that good progression there, and it goes from being funny in like a spiteful way, like
Hmm.
the her going there to spite Warren and to get back with him, or not Warner, what
Warner.
forgot what his name is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Warner.
yeah.
Yeah.
To like her like actually like taking an interest in it and like being good at it.
Yeah, there's a very diverse level of different side plots, but it doesn't feel like it's juggling too much. It feels naturally progressed throughout the story.
It helps that the side characters are all pretty memorable. Like none of them are super deep, but they
Hmm.
each do play a distinct purpose. Like we
Yes.
have the one that's like that are like everyone's a little combative at first, but we have the ones that warm up to L a bit faster. We have the ones that are like rivals at first that eventually like warm up to her and like realize that she's just living her life, living her best life. And then we have like of course Paulette, who's I really love Paulette both because Jennifer Coolidge is just like a great actress, great comedic actress, very very iconic in this film. But I kind of like it in the sense that she isn't like Al's like a valley girl, but she's not like a snob. She's not like
Hmm.
looking at this small town like college dropout or high school dropout like Paulette and being judgy. She's like, no, I want to help you. Like I want to like you're cool. Like you deserve happiness with the UPS guy.
Yeah, she's both a stereotype because she has that blonde kind of valley girl aura to her, but she's also a character where she's into fashion, but like really into fashion. She's genuinely intelligent in that field.
And that's what I like that they show how her knowledge on fashion and hair care and makeup actually does help her as a lawyer because it
Yeah.
is such a male dominated profession. It's a profession where even like the women in the field have to like make themselves fit in with the male demographic. But Elle's like specific knowledge of hair care is what helps her do well as a lawyer. Like it's something that no male lawyer would have caught. Same with the whole like shoes thing with the with the gay pool boy and like the argument in class about it was like about like custody rights
Hmm.
with like the like sperm donor who wanted to have the child's like custody even though he wasn't related at all. And she has the good argument that like so does every single like one night stand he's ever gone with does he need custody rights of any child from that? Would any like masturbation count like for that? Like it's an argument that a male point of view probably would have dismissed, but she was able to come up with it. So I appreciate that they show that her point of view isn't invalid. Like she is an intelligent person and she's able to use that as a lawyer.
Yeah. And I like that, yes, she's bringing her own spin to this, but it's not like she starts off bringing her own spin to this because it does show that her just showing up on the first day without a laptop and being completely kind of ditzy about it is not going to get her far. So, like, she actually has to put in the effort at first, and then
Mm-hmm.
later down the line, then she's able to kind of branch out and actually use her skills to help her in this field.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it is like it's it is like interesting and like it makes me realize like I didn't like I've never thought about law stuff, which is interesting because
Hmm.
I've recently realized I really do like court drama stuff. I find it very entertaining and interesting.
Hmm.
Like Anatomy of a Fall is one of my favorite movies of 2023. So And like I feel like this movie like almost kind of sparked that me realizing how interesting I find this process. And like it is very like dumbed down. I mean, it's a 90-minute comedy, but
Sure.
it does show like the both sides to it almost.
Yeah, it actually has an interesting mystery for you to solve. Yes, it's clearly not, 12 Angry Men levels of interesting court drama, but for what it is, a 90-minute comedy from 2001 that's aimed at teenage girls, it's awesome. Like, it does this stuff really well.
Hmm. And even like I know there's been discourse about like the feminism of this film, and like I'm not gonna like I'm sure there are critiques that are like worthwhile, and like I know there is things where it's like there's so much like feminist discourse of like it's okay for women to wear pink and be feminine, which I mean it's true, but it also is like not a thing that's often fought against as much as people think.
Mhm.
It's kind of a whole complicated like idea of like choice feminism, and like is that actually the most productive type of feminism to be producing? And I don't want to go on that tangent in a film podcast about Legally Blonde, but I do
Sure.
like how this film portrays feminism in the sense that like toward the end of the movie, I know we're going out of order, when like the Callahan comes on to her and she's all discouraged, she doesn't want to do this anymore,
Mhm.
and like her Emmett like is like he's supportive, he's like no, like you shouldn't let a man ruin this for you, you should like keep going and like do follow your new dream. And like that's not enough for her though, because as a man, Emmett's not going to have had that personal experience and not going to know what it's like. But when the professor lady, when she comes out and is like, "Hey, that like you can't let this ruin your career," that's what makes her realize that, oh wait, she's right. Like this woman's probably gone through all kinds of things like this, and she's not going to let it like ruin her career. She's still going to stand up for what she believes in. That's what encourages Elle, and I really like that it's the women coming together and supporting each other that causes Elle to want to do the right thing.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And it does so pretty well, actually. Like, it never distracts from the fact that it's a comedy by having these scenes. Like, it doesn't feel like it halts the movie. It actually feels naturally progressed into what the movie's going for.
Yes, it's very natural, and like it almost kind of sneak attacks you because you at first think like it's just gonna be like, oh, it's humor about her being a pink blonde valley girl with all these like professional Harvard types, which is funny.
Mhm.
But then they do show that there is like an element of like sexism where women are pit against each other, where like someone like Elle who like proudly displays her body will be like sexualized by a superior. And I don't love the thing of the other woman like assuming that Al was seducing him. Like I get why she does it. I just don't love that type of plot element. But I
Oh,
do like
yeah.
that when she realizes what happened, she is like immediately on Al's side now. So
Yeah.
even then, it's like even though they were romantic rivals to some extent, she was like immediately understanding once she realized what actually happened.
Yeah, at first when I first watched the movie, I was annoyed by that Selma Blair immediately just sees Elle getting hit on by Callahan and just assumes that she's going along with it. So she just goes, "Wow, I thought I knew you better." It's like, "Oh, misunderstanding
Like
plot." Uh-huh.
yeah.
But luckily, yeah, within the next scene, she's at she and Luke Wilson are at the jail talking to the lady on trial, and she goes like, "Oh, I saw Elle with him," and Emmett immediately is like, "No, you don't know what you're talking about." Like, it's not like this starts a whole other conflict in the movie.
No, yeah.
It's immediately like, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe we jumped the gun on this."
Yeah, it's annoying that it's a thing, but like
Hmm.
they do only do it for one scene, so it's
Yes,
it's like the least possible they could have done it. And like
exactly.
like even though like I'm in a thing where like I wouldn't have assumed that if I saw a older man groping a younger woman, but I guess I could see how someone in her position might because of the
Sure.
assumption someone might have about like a valley girl stereotype.
Yeah.
So it's a little annoying, but it does have a good payoff with like even someone who was a rival to Elle is able to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And speaking of like Luke Wilson, he used to be in movies. We don't see much from him anymore.
Yeah. Was the last big thing he was in really like Rock Dog of all movies? I mean,
I think I'm looking at his letterbox like actor like recency thing now, and like he was in Zombieland 2, which I haven't seen
I
yet.
didn't watch that.
Yeah, no, he was apparently in like that cowboy movie that came out liked Horizon that came out last year.
Oh, okay.
You
I
know,
didn't
I
watch
don't
that either.
like. Yeah, he's not really in things anymore compared to his brother.
Man, I mean, I like Owen Wilson, but come on, Luke, be in another Wes Anderson
Yeah,
movie.
I mean, yeah, he was in like Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums. Like he's a good actor. I was
Yeah.
like seeing him in this movie whenever we watched it. I'm like, why doesn't he show up in things anymore?
I don't know. Yeah, that's just weird. Was Rock Dog really, when he finished Rock Dog, he's like, well, that's the peak of my
It's kind of yeah, no,
filmography.
it's like, oh, you know what? I don't need to ever do this again. It's like how like the last painting Michelangelo made was wait, was that Michelangelo? I was trying to make an intellectual reference, but I'm stupid.
Well, what painting was, which painting?
The one on the ceiling. Blah.
Sistine Chapel.
That was
I don't.
yeah, Sistine Chapel.
I don't know if that was Michelangelo's last. Yeah, I don't know. I just know when I think of Michelangelo and the Sistine Chapel, I think of the Animaniacs cartoon.
So yeah, like let me see if it was the last one. This is very related to the current thing.
Exactly. No, well, this is important. We should know this. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like I try to be also intellectual, but I don't even like know all these famous art things.
I try to be smart.
It was no, I'm into more high culture, like Legally Blonde. Now that's high culture, and like the fact it is kind of like considered like a lowbrow movie, which I don't fully understand. Like I think about there's like an early episode of The Office where like it's the fire drill episode of The Office where they're like playing like desert island movies, and one of the ones Pam says is Legally Blonde, and Jim's like, "Oh, you don't choose a guilty pleasure movie like that for your desert island movie." But I don't. I get guilty pleasure in the sense that it is like a silly concept for a movie, but to me it is very similar along the veins of Mean Girls or Elf or like in the 90s like When Harry Met Sally or Big, where it's just a high concept, really well done script. And I think it's like it deserves to be thought of along the same lines as those films, where they are generally considered classics. And that's how I look at it too.
Yeah. I think one of the issues maybe arises is then you go to like the Letterboxd reviews and you see a whole bunch of 5-star reviews from people being like, I'm so nostalgic for this. It's like, okay, that's not really helping. Yeah. That's not really helping to make it seem legitimate.
It is like that's why like it is. I feel like it is considered a nostalgia movie because it is a movie I knew people watched when they were younger. It was aired on Disney Channel, I'm pretty sure, at points, which is surprising to me. I'm curious if they like cut out like the scenes that reference like masturbation and stuff.
Yeah. No, they had to explicitly put those. They put those scenes exclusively on Disney Junior. You know, that's
oh yeah, exactly. Because it's about children. Kids love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I do think the nostalgia is part of it. I think part of it is like it is kind of similar in vein to the Barbie movie, where it does have the very like pink, like girly pink aesthetic, which like people can have legitimate like complaints against, where they don't like when like that's considered like the main facet of femininity. But there's also like the thing of like people just think it's cringe, just like or like the film bro types might just think of it as like a chick flick, and I guess they still call it that, where as like other films of that vein wouldn't, like other films of this era wouldn't have that designation, I guess is the way I think of it.
Sure. Which is weird because there are legitimately very smart chick flicks out there. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean like this wasn't, feels like we don't like Barbie was like the last recent film that felt like it was in that kind of genre too. It feels like if something's marketed toward women, they don't try to do it in the way where it's like marketed toward women explicitly. They kind of like hide it. I don't know. It's that's kind of like another like conversation altogether. I just think
it's just weird.
It is weird. Yeah, I know. I there's like so many like interesting like things you could do about this. Is like this movie's like a position in the culture. But I just think it's just a good movie. Like that's kind of the thing with me, where like I like rewatching this film the same way I like rewatching Back to the Future, because it's got a great length, great characters, memorable performances. It's very very iconic, and it's also just, I mean, yeah, like there is the whole nostalgia conversation, and like, well, I wasn't nostalgic for this movie specifically. It's like you said earlier, I am nostalgic for this era of movie that we don't get that much of anymore.
Yeah. It's also just incredibly funny. I was laughing out loud on several occasions. The part that I talked about this in my first log of it when I first watched it at that drive-in, but I want to talk about it now because it's genuinely the part that made me laugh the hardest still to this day, is when the pool boy's on trial, and and she figures out like, oh, he's gay, and they try, and Emmett has to figure out a way. All right, how do I get him to admit he's gay? And he goes like, and your boyfriend's name is? And he goes, Chuck. He's like, thank you. And then he goes, no, no. I meant Chuck is just a good friend of mine. And then Chuck is actually in the audience, and he stands up and just goes, you bitch.
No, the drama of that scene. No, it's everything with Chuck is very funny. Like the way she realizes too, like when he like insults her like out of season shoes, and she's like, wait, like Emmett, what shoes am I wearing? And he's like, I don't know, black. It's like only gay people know what's no clothing to say.
Yeah,
it's very campy too. I very much appreciate campy humor like that.
Yeah, and it's made even funnier because it is actually something that progresses the plot forward. Like it's a joke, but it's still progressing the plot forward. That's what makes it even funnier. It's yes, so good.
And they have a lot of good moments like that. Like I mean, like everything with Paulette is like a side plot, but it is where she goes, and it's where she gets like the motivation she needs to come back. And that's also where we have really funny moments, like with the bend and snap, like one of the most iconic things from this movie.
Yeah. So
I really appreciate like the UPS guy, how his name is just UPS guy too on the letterboxd thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yes. Like, you know, they do a good job progressing the plot. And also, speaking of the gay guy, I like that Elle's an ally in this film. Like, I think Vivian was like, or no, it was a lesbian student there who was like, I bet you would just call me, I don't know if I can say here the D word, but like, and Elle's like, I wouldn't use that word. She's an ally.
Yeah, she actually explicitly says like, I wouldn't have used that word, and I believe that. Elle to me does not seem like a very ignorant person. She seems very understanding of everybody around her.
She is a smart person, which I appreciate. Like she's got that Valley Girl like aura to her, like this like obliviousness or naivete, but she's not like a dumb person, and she's not like, it would have been such a worse movie if she was like a bully type. I think it's really improved by the fact that she is supportive of other people. She's supportive of like the gay character. She's supportive of Paulette, who's like really run down in life. So I think that also helps like this film from becoming mean-spirited or out of date.
Yeah. It's just a very feel-good movie because of that.
Exactly. And like honestly, I think Elle would be a trans ally. Like I think she would be like maybe the overbearing type of trans ally. She would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're trans. I should totally take you out dress shopping and teach you how to put on makeup," which can come across as condescending, but you do know that she means well and she wants to help. So I definitely think she would be an ally in these modern times.
The best case is that she does not get a Twitter account.
Exactly. Man, the simpler days.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. Because there's another part of this movie that I know nobody cares about, but I keep thinking about it because it was something I noticed the first time around, and I want to bring it up this time around. Do you remember the scene? It's not even like a very important scene in the grand scheme of the movies, but it's the establishing shot when she first gets to Boston to go to Harvard. It's after she's been accepted, and you just see the pink car going over a bridge into Boston to imply that, oh, she's arrived in Boston/Cambridge where she's going to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm from Boston, obviously, and I know the geography pretty well. And she's driving over the Tobin Bridge, which is a bridge that connects the town of Chelsea to Boston. Chelsea is north of Boston, and she's obviously coming in from California, which is theoretically she should be coming in from the south. And I've never understood why she takes the Tobin Bridge to go from north to Boston.
I've never been to Boston, so I'm actually interested in this. Yeah. I did have a thought when I rewatched this movie. It's kind of a dark thought, but I'm like, okay, this movie came out in 2001. It takes place in 2001 for the first half, in the first half of her school year. And a school year starts usually in August or September. And if she takes a plane to get there, she'd be taking from Los Angeles to Boston, which
which
is the
yes. which made
You
even
know where I'm
worse.
going with this.
Yes, the planes of that particular event came from Logan Airport, by the way, from Boston.
Oh my.
So
Yeah, like so I'm like that. I had that thought with this rewatch. I'm like, I'm really glad Elle made it there safely.
yes, yeah,
I guess maybe she did drive over there if her pink car was there. So yeah, I don't even know, but
yeah.
I did have that thought. This is
The
what the country needed in that year.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. After, yeah, of course, because after the horrific events of 9/11, then a couple weeks later we got the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer sequel, which nobody liked. So this was a good
Wait,
counter
was
to
that
that.
when that came out? I never realized that. I thought
Yeah,
that would
so
have been in like the.
yeah, do you know, you've heard of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys, the weird CGI sequel to the original
I
Rudolph?
have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast a couple months ago back in December. It's really bad, but it came out in 2001, so it was
It's just what the country needed in these trying times.
yeah. But yeah, Legally Blonde is obviously the better movie that came out in 2001 for that to happen.
Those are the only two ones that came out that year. They
Exactly.
didn't release anything else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was a very sparse year, weirdly enough.
I know.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because again, yeah, most people who are not from Boston, I guarantee most people who are from Boston who watch this movie probably wouldn't even give a shit about that. But I like maps and roads. That's kind of just something I like thinking about and looking at. So when I see something like that being kind of inconsistent, I have to be like, well, actually, but
Actually,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter though. It's not. It doesn't
That's
ruin
fun.
the
I
movie.
mean, yeah, it's totally just like the let's show this iconic Boston site, Bostonian site.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's funny though. I never realized that.
Yeah.
Never been to Boston. I should though. I've been wanting to like go to the East Coast again this year and like go to NYC again, and I should hit up Boston while I'm there.
Yeah, everybody goes to New York City. I mean, rightfully so. It is the bigger city in the Northeast, but yeah, Boston's got some cool stuff. We got Fenway Park and the fucking Boston Tea Party location. So
hey, wicked or like
wicked piss out.
Like, hey, that's like from the TED TV series.
Oh
and
yeah,
the holdovers. We're really in a Boston media renaissance, but with those two.
Oh yeah, definitely. But anyway, back to Legally Blonde. Oh, this is another little moment that I burst out laughing when I noticed it. It's when it's at the end when they're at graduation and the dad just has a martini while he's in the crowd at the graduation.
Yes, that's lots of funny like small like gags like that in this film. Like when you notice the sheer absurdity of the places that Elle takes her dog, like I don't think a Chihuahua would be allowed everywhere. And like you mentioned the like the martini, and then like obviously I think one of the most iconic scenes in this film is the college entry essay, like where she's like laying in the pool speaking up to the camera. It's apparently directed by a Coppola. Like lots of just kind of like somewhat absurd stuff like that also is really iconic.
Yeah, and it's funny that too. Like, yeah, it's in its own film logic kind of. It's in its own kind of film logic, but it's still funny. Like the climax when she actually reveals who the real killer is the whole time. It's not the woman on trial. It's actually the daughter, played by Linda Cardellini, and the way they find out is like, oh, you wouldn't take a shower after getting a perm, and like nobody actually thought to question that. But again, the point of the movie is that she's bringing her own skills to realize these kinds of things.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a well done twist, and I also like think it's another iconic thing in this movie where whenever I am getting my hair done, like I'm like, oh, if I got a perm, I won't be able to wash it for a day. Yeah.
But also, it's like, okay, so Linda Cardellini immediately is just like, all right, I admit it, I shot him. And then the judge is like, all right, that's it, you're under arrest. And woman on trial, you're free to go. It's like, that's not how it works. But it's the end of the movie. Whatever.
It's very funny. And this movie even does a thing that I usually hate. But at the end, when it usually I hate when a film ends and like there's like the text telling you where this character goes next. I just find it so lazy most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny. I think it does actually work in this film. Just because like it's part of the college acceptance speech. Like it's kind of a college film tradition. But also it has that moment where like, oh yeah, Warner didn't have a girlfriend. He didn't have any job offers. He had mediocre grades, and he sucks and everybody hates him.
Yeah. See that's something that also probably would have annoyed me too, because it's like, okay, Warner's not really a character throughout most of this movie. Like, he's obviously supposed to be kind of like this weird foil character, but like, again, the jokes at his expense are genuinely funny, so it doesn't matter. So like, yeah, when you have that moment at the end where it's like, yeah, he graduated not with honors, he doesn't have any job offers, it's like, okay, that's funny, that's hilarious.
And exactly, and there's also, they even have some of these subtle like sexism commentary with him, where he kind of just assumes that Elle isn't smart, even though she got into the same school he did. Like, like she's just as like smart as him, but he just assumes because she's like a ditzy woman archetype that she's not going to actually succeed in this, which I appreciate that subtle element. And even with like how he treats Vivian, where like or how Vivian is treated in general, where she has that conversation where she actually relates with Elle over how women are treated in the law industry.
Yeah, but he assumes he needs to be with someone like Vivian because she's a Connecticut girl.
Exactly. Again, like even like the small thing, like the romantic rival character, I feel like there is a lot of thought put into it, and it just that's again why I say it's a very clean script. It's like I just appreciate. I don't know. I'm a big fan of screenwriting in terms of just any script that like I can just like look at and like, this is smooth. I see no issues. Like I love movies like that.
Oh yeah, as I've gotten older, I've really started to appreciate the writing in a movie, because obviously I've gone over how, you know, movies, film is a visual medium. You want to have films that look amazing. You want to have them look great and look unique, and that's always important. But also, what keeps us returning to those films is the writing, first and foremost.
Yes.
Because a movie can look nice and look cool, but have the most dog shit story, and you just think, man, what a shame. So you need something stronger to keep you returning and keep you kind of discovering new things you wouldn't have discovered your first time around.
Exactly. I mean, like, because this movie is directed by Robert Lukatic, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name, but
some like Australian
I don't recognize
TV director, right?
Yeah, I don't recognize anything else he's directed. I mean, like, no shame. This movie is not like poorly directed, but it's not like super notable direction. And like, I think this is a good example of a film where it is like the script and the performances that carry it. Because I'm looking at the writers now. Like, Kirsten Smith also did 10 Things I Hate About You. That's a famous movie. Let me see. Wait, I didn't realize Mark Platt was a producer on this.
I thought that was pretty funny. I'm like, okay.
He's always been there, like
from the very beginning.
So like I think that is part of also why I like this film. It's just got great dialogue and, like, again, great performances. I love Jennifer Coolidge in anything. Reese Witherspoon, this is probably like her most iconic role.
Yeah, it's up there.
Great film overall.
It's up there with her performance in like American Psycho. Although, I mean, I wouldn't really say she's one of the standouts of American Psycho, but she's absolutely one of the standouts here.
I forgot that she was even in American Psycho till the other day. Like,
that's probably one of her early film roles. I mean, it was 2000, so duh.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like that's all I have to say about the original Legally Blonde.
Well,
like it
so I just wanted to say, because like, if that's all we have to say about the movie, can we get into this DVD I have of it?
Oh, okay. Tell me about the DVD.
Yeah, so the DVD I have of it is an MGM early 2000s. I think this is like from the year it was released, or at least a couple years later, because like, oh, okay, it says copyright 2004, so I guess this DVD was made in 2004. But here's really something really cool. The case is pink.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, duh, because it's pink is kind of, even though it's called Legally Blonde, pink is the color of the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I love when DVDs or Blu-ray. I mean, Blu-rays, you see this less often, but like with DVDs, you get like actually really cool colored cases. Because it's just an extra mile to make it stand out from your typical black DVD case. And not that that's bad, like not every movie needs that, but something like this that where pink is the main color of the movie, I just really appreciate that they actually went the extra mile in making the case pink.
Man.
Yeah.
I miss physical media, like when they would do unique stuff like that.
Mhm.
How are the menus for this movie? Like,
So
I'm a big DVD menu connoisseur.
yeah. So the menu, it's an interactive menu. You have like it's weird because it's pink, and then you have like quotes and stills from the movie kind of passing by, and it's done so in
Mhm.
like a weird kind of wavy text looking thing. It's interesting. um yeah, and really the only special features are audio commentaries, which I never got a chance to listen to because I just wanted to watch the movie. But another thing I wanted to note is because this is an early 2000s DVD, it actually gives you options for either watching it in widescreen format or standard format. Because
Oh man,
remember,
I remember those days.
yeah, because remember, TVs were still kind of in that weird transitional period where we were going from standard 4:3, because that's what televisions were, 4:3 screens, but then you would have movies made in widescreen, and so that's why full screen was invented, where you would just zoom into the movie and kind of make it from there. I hate full screen. No, that's a whole other thing I've talked about on the podcast before. But so I'm glad they give you the option where you can be like, oh, I can either watch it in widescreen or full screen, rather than just being like, no,
Yeah,
it's a full screen DVD or a widescreen DVD. It gives you the
I
option.
noticed that with older DVDs because
Mhm.
I was watching Rushmore from Wes Anderson on like an older DVD copy of it a few years ago, and it must have been a full screen version because like I like the entire time the film was like I don't know how to describe it. Like it was smaller than the TV screen. Like it was like as if it was on a full screen like monitor, but displaying in widescreen. So like it had the black
Mm.
bars at the top and bottom, but also on the sides.
Oh
So
yeah.
so basically like the whole movie was like I think it was the full like a full screen DVD, but
Yes.
displaying on like a widescreen TV in 2025, it was like covered surrounded by black. But the thing is, for like the first like 10 minutes, I just thought this was a directorial choice because it was Anderson, how much he loves messing with the like the aspect ratio. So I was like, and then like around 30 minutes in, I'm like, oh wait, this DVD is just out of date. It doesn't have like a proper widescreen option.
Yeah, no,
So
that's definitely a thing, because you did have widescreen movies being advertised as being on a widescreen DVD, but because the TVs were still 4:3 and not 16:9, you had like this big black box, just like this big black nothingness surrounding it, and so you just had like this tiny rectangle like in the movie,
yes, exactly.
and
That's
it looks
I trouble
weird.
describing it because I've never had a DVD that's like that. Like at
Yeah,
least in the modern times, like watching it on a like big TV now. But it
yeah,
was very funny.
yeah. It is really cool. Because it's a part of an era that you don't see anymore, because most TVs nowadays are that 16:9 widescreen TV, because it just makes the most sense to make them like that. You don't ever really see 4:3 TVs unless you're a dorky hipster that's just like, I only watch movies in that kind of TV because I'm cool
Or
and I
like a
like
melee
old stuff.
player.
Or Melee Player, yeah, that's exactly. um but yeah, no, this
Man,
this is a really cool DVD. I'm glad I get the option for widescreen. And I'm glad that it's pink. And I just like the movie in general. Like, even if it was like a standard Blu-ray, I'd probably still keep it. But I'm keeping this DVD. So
yes,
that's what I'm doing.
perfect.
It's a permanent stay in the collection. Um just to talk a little bit about, yeah, do you have a bit of a physical media collection at all, or
I'm growing one actually. Like I
Mhm.
have a decent like a lot of what I have is like leftover of stuff I had from when I was a kid. So I have a
Right.
lot of like Disney movies on DVD, which
Right.
I like keeping those because those have the sentimental value.
Of course.
And then
Yeah,
also some like Blu-rays I collected as like a teen where it's a lot of stuff I was into at the time, like Marvel movies. And only recently have I been trying to grow my physical media collection to be like my other favorite movies too.
yeah.
Like I have like a bunch of the Wes Anderson Criterion Collection films now because he's one of my favorite directors. I actually don't own Legally Blonde physically. I realized that the other day when I was preparing to watch it. I had to watch it on Amazon Prime, but that's one I would like to own because I am at a point where like I have enough disposable income and enough of a passion for film again, like which I sort of reignited a few years ago, that I want to be able to expand upon that because I do like being able to own these movies because there have been times where I want to watch something and I don't want to go on one of the crap CT or streaming services to watch it.
Yeah. No. I mean, especially the past week or so has definitely definitely made me fully confident in owning physical media collections, just because, like, literally last weekend they took off all the Looney Tunes shorts off of Max, and it's like,
God.
dude, come on.
No, yeah, it's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
like when usually like past few years, if there's a movie I really love in a certain year, I do try to own. Do try to buy the Blu-ray. Like I got the Spider-Verses, I
Mm-hmm.
got Barbenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get the Anatomy of a Fall Criterion release, but I didn't get around to it yet. I probably will at the next Criterion sale. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ham with the next Criterion sale. Like
Yeah.
it'll be the first Criterion sale since I got my new job, so I'm like I'm gonna go ham.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, Legally Blonde, good movie. Thumbs up from us.
Yes.
And now on to the sequel, right? We ready for the sequel?
Yeah, it's the movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I did not like this one at all. I really didn't like this.
It's like okay, so I used to like donate plasma, like where you like sell like the parts of like your blood that they use to like make like medication and stuff. And I would do it like on weekday afternoons, and they would always have like TBS or TNT or FXX on, one of those channels that just plays like a random movie or runs in the middle of the week. And there's a certain genre of movie I started to describe as like plasma movies, like movies that would be on in the waiting room on a weekday afternoon. And it would be stuff like Fantastic Four 2, The Rise of Silver Surfer, and
yes,
Beverly Hills Cop 3, and
yes.
like Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yes.
And this never was a movie I caught on there, but that's what it is in spirit. This is like Legally Blonde 2 is a waiting room movie, not a movie you would watch willingly like ever.
Yeah. Oh, that's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah. Recently I've been watching a lot of movies that I would describe as cable tier, like movies you just would passively catch on cable. And I feel like that this is kind of one of those, but like negatively, like, because some of the cable tier movies I've been watching, I'm like, oh, this rocks. But then watching through this, I'm like, no. Yeah.
And there's ones like that where I would sit and watch it. Like one of the ones that was on like once was like the Disney Freaky Friday, like the 2003 one. That's a good film. That's a movie I'd watch. This one, like no. Like you know how like the sequel trope of how like they'll like rehash all the memorable moments of the first movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say this movie does that per se, like very directly, but it does open with them looking at a scrapbook of all the memorable parts from the first movie, which I think is just a very funny way to start a sequel. Like, hey, remember this part in the first movie? That was funny. And remember this part? That was also good. Like,
I'm always confused by moments like that, because it's like, who is this for? Is this for the people who haven't watched the first one? Or is it for the people who have watched the first one, who have it memorized pretty well? It's like, yeah, why are you reminding me of something I'm already very knowledgeable on?
And it's not like it's a very complicated movie where you need a major recap. I feel like you get the deal. She's a like Valley Girl lawyer. You don't need this in-depth like, oh, remember the bend and snap? I did notice Paulette has a line that's like, oh, they're like Romeo and Juliet without all the dying, which was stolen by Phineas and Ferb like 10 years later, I realized.
Yeah, which I mean, I would assume Phineas and Ferb did better with that line, but you know.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
it's
strange. It's strange. I don't understand why movies do that. I don't need a recap, because if it's a sequel to a movie, you should assume that I'm already passionate for that first movie and I want to see where these characters are now. So why we're spending this time recapping the first one, I don't understand it, but whatever. I guess it fills up time for the runtime.
Exactly, which I guess you need for this movie. I mean,
yes, you do.
I don't know, because like it's because I'm trashing on the beginning, but I do think the beginning is probably the better part of the movie. Like, it's not great, but like when you see like Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Coolidge interacting, there's some of that charm there still. Like but it does, like, once she goes to DC, it just like falls off for me. Like,
yeah. I mean, because
like, that it was particularly high in the first place, but
when the best part of your movie is like, hey, remember the first movie? It's like, yeah, I do remember the first movie. I wish I was watching it instead of this. It's never
exactly. I mean, part of it is that I think she has a much stronger motivation in the first film.
Yes.
Anyone can relate to wanting to spite an asshole ex, or later wanting to protect your friend from going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like, I mean, I'm not like a gung-ho animal testing supporter, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also not something that the film really ever sells you on of like, animal testing is evil. It's literally just like, oh yeah, Elle's dog's mom is in a testing facility and we don't like that. So let's do a law to not have to do that anymore. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't really care that much.
Yeah, and it does this thing where I guess it's trying to do this thing where it's like, oh, this is how we do this kind of stuff in Washington, and it's really boring. Which
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily against. I have been watching through The West Wing. This is I'm obsessed with that show. I'm just about to start season 7, but it's a show about politics, about about what it's like running the government in Washington, and it's thoroughly engaging. I'm captivated every episode. I think it's one of my all-time favorite shows already. I love it that much. And you can make that stuff interesting when you have interesting characters, interesting storylines. You actually give a shit about what you're writing. And I don't feel that from this movie. It feels like they started off with, wouldn't it be funny if Elle went to Washington? And that is funny
That's
inherently, but I don't think the writers really know how to make that interesting.
They don't, and it doesn't help that like it's not like political intrigue in the way that like West Wing would have, or something more recent like Succession would have. It's not like strong political intrigue. It's like a very Schoolhouse Rock understanding.
It's funny you mentioned that
DC,
because they have a punk rock version of "I'm Just a Bill."
I did love that. That was honestly the part that got me to perk up the most. That and one other thing, but that was very funny to me.
I was annoyed by it, but only because I guess you know what? I probably would be more annoyed by it back in the day because it would feel like a moment where it's just like, hey kids, we're updating this really geeky song.
But I think that's why I like it. It's very campy.
Campy,
oh yeah, it reminded me of those like Radio Disney remixes they would do of Disney songs, where it's like a rock version of "I Want to Be Like You." Like,
we have Miley Cyrus singing "Kiss the Girl." Isn't that cool, kids?
Yes. Oh my god.
I don't know if she actually did that. I've just randomly said that.
I think Ashley Tisdale did "Kiss the Girl."
That sounds more likely.
I remember that one.
That sounds more likely. Ashley Tisdale singing "Kiss the Girl." Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was it's also just like, I have such trouble watching older political satire, especially when it is this kind of like childish, like Schoolhouse Rock version of political satire. Because it's just, I mean, for one, it's just, I'm so tired of everything going on. I don't have the bandwidth for this type of thing. But also, like, it just does feel like it's not reflecting the world we live in anymore. And like, they do try to touch on the things of like, oh, like there's that whole like Congress lady that like kind of betrays Elle. Like, they do touch on like, oh, some Congress people are beholden to corruption, but they also don't like. Then they have the stupid ending. Like, I really kind of hated the ending of this movie. Like,
everybody stands up and claps because Elle had a really good speech.
The speech is like, they were trying to, because they were very much trying to recreate the ending of the first movie. They even follow it up with like the text on the screen and stuff. But it's so much less intelligent from Elle. Like, like in the first movie, Elle was doing like some genuine deduction. She was being a good lawyer.
Yeah.
But in this one, she just was like, oh my god, I got my hair like this, but I didn't like how it turned out. And that was my fault for not doing anything. And that's like a government metaphor. And I'm like, guys, really? Like, this is like, this would fail like a 3rd grade like speech class.
It sucks so hard. I hate it.
Like, I was really hoping for something more clever at the ending. Because like, I mean, Elle in the first movie is a clever character, but here she feels kind of like an alien. Like, she doesn't, like, in the first movie, she doesn't fit in with her surroundings, but she does try to like fit in her own way. She tries to, she's pragmatic. In this one, she very much feels like an unpragmatic moron, where she's like singing like her like Delta News stuff in like public, or like in this Congress office, like doing her, I don't know, it's very irritating.
Yeah.
I don't like being irritated by Elle, but she is irritating in this movie.
No, yeah. It feels like she's going through the exact same thing she would have learned in the first movie. So it just feels like we're back to square one, and that's never a good sign
which
for your
is
sequel.
the worst. No, and like you would think that having been a lawyer for several years by now, she would like have an understanding of how things work in the professional world. Like she would be a little more pragmatic. Like she would be using some of her expertise from being a lawyer, from her experiences in the first movie to navigate Washington. And like, I don't think this movie needed to exist. I don't think Legally Blonde is a movie that needed a sequel at all. But I think if she was more like knowledgeable and it was showing her competence in a different light, that'd be something. But here it's just like the return of like, oh, we have to make her all flanderized and back to the beginning again, basically.
Yeah, she's very flanderized. And also, yeah, the whole animal cruelty thing, the whole side of that, I don't think it explores that very well. It's just like, hey, animal testing is bad. It's like, okay, can we view that in like a very intelligent way? Can we get all sides of this debate going? And it's like, no, they're just bad, and the people who like it are evil. It's like,
well, I thought it was really weird because she's like, Al's like, oh yeah, there are alternatives to animal testing, and then someone else, like one of the like people who's speaking out against the bill, was like, all the alternatives against animal testing suck. And that's like the kind of the end of the conversation. And I'm like, so what is the case? Is there good alternatives to animal testing? Because like, again, don't get me wrong, I don't want animals to suffer, but I do understand like in a sense of like, you need to test if like medicines or like products, like if you need to test that they don't hurt people, like I understand why it happens. I'm not in support of it, but I understand why it happens. But this movie doesn't even really engage with that at all. I just like, oh nope, it's bad.
It's just bad. And then at the end, when she convinces everybody, all the animals just get to go like walk out the door. It's so stupid.
What's funny? It's like there's like nothing. It's like do they just go into nature now after being in captivity? Like I don't know. It's the whole thing of like.
It's like, very Disney Channel, but like
very Disney Channel, yeah. Like no engagement with the topic, like, and they don't even need to go too intense with it. Like this is not something I know anything about. They could have just literally been like, "Oh yeah, there's an alternative. They just do this." Like it doesn't even have to be real. They can just say that. Yeah, be like, "Okay, I believe you, film.
Sure, why not?"
Or have a more strong motivation than it being Bruiser's mom. Like for.
Because that does feel like kind of an afterthought after a while, where it's just like, Bruiser's mom. Whatever, I guess this is our motivation.
And it's another flanderized element of this film where like Bruiser was of course adorable in the first film, but like he was never a plot point. He was just like, she's a Beverly Hills Valley girl, so she has a chihuahua.
Yeah, she just has
Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Yeah.
But in this film it's like it's a plot point. Oh, and Bruiser's a gay icon. We got to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly, because they find out, oh, I guess Bruiser's a dude and he's into this other dude dog, and the conservative Republican NRA spokesperson, they always have to list out who this guy is, by the way. And his dog is also gay, and he has like a second where he's just like, I don't know if I approve of this, but then the next scene he's just like, I approve of this. It's like, oh, okay.
Which is it is probably my favorite part of the movie. I'm not saying it's good, but it's at least it has a similar camp to like the gay scene in the first film.
Oh yeah,
it feels like they're trying to recreate that energy this time. It's not as good.
No,
but at least it got me to like lean forward and kind of appreciate the camp, especially when the conservative NRA guy congressperson is like, my dog's a flamer and I support him. It's like, I think Congress would be a better place if all Congress people were like that. They did like find out their dog was gay and were in support.
Yeah. It is also just very funny to see the receptionist at the dog place just go, your dogs are gay.
And then the woman just like leaves the place immediately. Like, I can't go to a place where the dog's gay. No, I can't do that. Like,
I can't be here with all these homo dogs.
I thought we were more progressive than this back in 2003, but we really weren't.
Shaking
so
my head. I can't believe it. But to go back into like the whole how they portray the animal testing thing, to bring up the West Wing again, the West Wing does this kind of stuff all the time expertly, where it has these really weird issues that everybody has an opinion on. But it never villainizes people. Like, obviously, the show has its set in stone politics, and it wants to portray that as being, this is what we believe. But then you're also going to have characters who have opposing politics to that. And you think, oh, they're going to portray them as very evil, very condescending. And then you actually hear what these characters have to say, and you're like, Oh fuck, that's actually a really good point. That's actually really interesting. It gets you as an audience member to think about these issues really interestingly. And this movie, and I get it.
It's yeah.
I get it. West Wing and Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde are not the same thing. But I don't know. They were coming out around the same time, 2003, early 2000s. And so I just can't help but think like, oh, West Wing would have done this a hell of a lot better. I know it's completely
Yeah.
unfair, but I still
I
just
mean,
was thinking about that.
the first movie, I wouldn't say it's a thinker, but I wouldn't say it's dumb either. Like it
Mm-hmm.
does, it has something to say. It's something very simple, but it does tell it well.
Yeah.
This one, I don't think it has anything to say. It's just like, oh, let's put her in this Schoolhouse Rock version of DC, and I don't know. I guess for the topic, I guess Elle was like a vegetarian, so let's just have it be like animal rights related, and like they didn't. I don't think the filmmakers cared about animal testing at all either. They
No.
just chose it because it's a pretty like inoffensive thing where you don't have to ask any complex questions. And I'm not saying I want complex questions from a Legally Blonde sequel, but it very much shows in the end product with how safe it is and how much I don't care.
Yeah, because the final one of the final scenes is like the animals get to just walk out the door. You know, you just see
Yeah,
all these
it's
dogs and ducks walking out the door. It's like we did it. We solved everything. It's like, come on, really?
no like this is like Free Willy levels. I'm just like, oh, it's back in the ocean. We did.
Everything's okay now. It's like, okay, if you insist.
Yeah, no, it like if they did something a little more interesting, like I don't even know what they could have done. Like, because
No.
I mean, I would have loved a film where Elle goes to Washington to like get gay rights like legalized or something, but they were never gonna do that. And I'm not saying they needed to do that, but they could have chosen something more interesting, or even like her being like a Washington lawyer could have been like entertaining. Like she maybe has to protect, like maybe one of her friends like dad is like a congressperson and she has to like defend him. Like again,
Yeah.
I don't think Legally Blonde needed a sequel at all,
No.
but there's ways they could have done it that could have been less not good than this.
Yeah, exactly. Because then, yeah, what am I left with this story? I'm just left watching Bob Newhart say "faux shizzle my nizzle." It's like, what are we doing here?
I did like seeing Bob Newhart in
Oh
this.
yeah, I
Like,
love seeing
he's
Bob
one of the-
Newhart. I'm like, I love
yeah.
Bob Newhart. But then when he said "faux shizzle my nizzle," he looked like he wanted to kill himself right then and there. I'm like,
Yeah,
Bob,
I mean, and there
I'm
was
sorry.
Sally Field, like some pretty good
Ooh.
actors in this. I'm surprised they got like
Yeah, Sally Field. I was thinking about that. I'm like, ooh, Sally Field is in this, and I'm usually
and
pretty big on Sally Field.
and Octavia Spencer was in this. Like
Oh yeah,
like it just they didn't use them any interesting, and
No.
even the returning characters they didn't use in interesting ways. Like Emmett was just the husband like preparing for the wedding, and I found one like the best friend characters from the first movie when they came back and did that chair routine in the building, like that was cringe. Like I couldn't deal with that scene. Like the only returning character where I kind of got some of the same charm was Paulette, and she didn't even have that much to do. It was just like, oh, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I like her.
Wow, you look just like the 4th of July. Now I really want a hot dog. And then
Okay,
at the end, she gets her hot dog.
The best joke in the movie was at the end when they're doing like the text on screen like they did in the first movie about where everyone ends up. And like she's halfway through eating a hot dog, and the text on screen says Paulette finished her hot dog. I thought that made me laugh out loud.
I'm so glad she finished her hot dog.
I know, like I was really worried about that, but
Yeah.
I'm just like so relieved, and like I'm really glad for the closure.
I cared more about Paulette finishing her hot dog than I did the animals getting out of the animal testing facility.
Exactly. And the fact that they even ended with the text on screen again, like I said, it's something I usually hate, but I think the first film does it fine. But here I hate it, especially because it wraps up really quickly where she gives that speech in Congress. And you like think okay, there's got to be at least one more scene after this, but no, it just immediately does like the text on screen, like Bruiser's bill passed,
Yeah,
to all the votes, and everything was happy, and they got married. And I'm like, guys, like,
and everybody clapped. It's like, ugh.
God, no. I mean, I already talked about how much I didn't like that ending, but that, like, I was like, maybe like, okay, maybe I can give this like 5 out of 10. Like, I don't like this movie, but I don't think it's the worst thing ever. But that ending just like genuinely like kind of pissed me off. Like I didn't expect that from this film, but like it was just so like Disney Channel levels of like, or yeah, like and everyone clapped, and it was such a like unintelligent moment from Elle when I think the best part of the first movie was seeing Elle's actual intelligence. That it
Yes.
just kind of like I felt like made me realize how bad this movie actually is.
Yeah. And also from like a filmmaking standpoint, I think this movie looks worse than the first one. I don't
Oh,
know.
it does.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
can properly describe it, but just something about the cinematography was so ugly to me.
It's got a lot of like backlighting. Like, I
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, it was very
Very, very wicked movie, but worse.
yeah, oh yeah, way worse. There was like it was like this weird. It looked like a late 2000s movie where it had like the heavy shadows because that was usually, but that was more of a thing in the late 2000s where you had like really heavy shadows in the movie. But like this was 2003. This was only a couple of years after the first one, and the first one still looks great. I don't know what happened in those 2 years where it looks
I
like this
don't
now.
know.
There was
I'm looking at the director and like I don't recognize anything else he's worked. Like he's only done like a handful of movies. Only one I recognize like the name of is Kissing Jessica Stein, and I haven't even seen that.
yeah,
Like
I've never heard of that.
it,
Yeah, that's weird.
so like
Oh,
it's
he
like
directed the Legally Blonde television pilot, I guess.
man, that's they. I really don't think we need any like I don't think Legally Blonde is something that needs to be a franchise. Like
No.
apparently I found out while researching that we're getting a TV series about Elle as like a teenager in high school on
Mm.
Amazon Prime, and I'm like, we don't need that. Like,
No,
what
yeah.
if it's Elle before the events of Legally Blonde, then she's just a Valley girl. And like, don't
Right.
get me wrong, I love Elle, but I love her origin story is Legally Blonde. We don't need an origin story before her origin story.
Yeah, it's the most interesting story containing her was already told. Why do we need to go back to see something that has nothing to do with what we liked Elle in the first place with, you know?
No,
And
it's not. And apparently, like a Legally Blonde story has like a script, and it
yeah.
was gonna come out, but they just never made it. It's one of those movies that like I remember seeing it on like the Wikipedia list of upcoming films, and like,
Yeah.
oh, it's apparently it was dated for this day in like 2020, and then that day just came and went, and nothing happened. And I was like, I
Okay.
guess they just didn't make it. I guess they just forgot.
Yeah, it's still up on Letterbox, so like I'm assuming they're trying to still make it. And it's like, oh, well, it's
Although
at
we should
40, but it's like,
we should touch on well, we should touch on the ending note of the film where she's
oh
like,
yeah,
where do you want to live? And then she looks at the White House and looks
yeah,
at the camera and winks. And I'm like, oh no.
yeah.
Her character would be like old enough to run for president in the next film. And I'm like, no, this would be this would be like the like progenitor of the end times if we do a movie about Al running for president in 2025. Like that would just no, I cannot picture that in today's political climate. I don't want to picture that in today's political climate.
Yeah, yeah. No, it wouldn't have worked. I guess it would have worked a while ago, but now at this point, I mean, I've seen so many reviews of people being like, "I want to see Elle as president." It's like, do you really? After the second one being that bad, I don't.
No,
trust
it could have worked in like pre 2016 era
Sure.
where you could have like political like comedy about presidential races and like not cringe to your soul
That's true.
like in the era where they have like the Simpsons like Citizen Kane short where it's about like the jokes about the political scene weren't like totally beaten to death by now, but like
Yeah.
just picturing it today and just picturing the type of stuff we would get with like it would be kind of the things that people associate Legally Blonde and the Barbie movie with that I don't think is entirely fair, but if they were to make one that was very like, oh, it's just like the Hillary campaign, just like the
Oh.
Kamala campaign. Like,
Oh,
I don't
no.
want no. It would be what people think of like the whole white feminism argument about Barbie or Legally Blonde.
Oh
But like
God, yeah.
legitimately that, not like the unfair reading of that.
Oh, dude, it would be the worst. Yeah, people just be like, "This is just like the Hillary campaign." I would cringe into the next existence. I would burn my Legally Blonde DVD. Just be like, "I
No,
thought I
I
trusted
can't
you."
do it. I don't want to think of Elle that way. I don't want to
No.
know Elle's position on the Middle East. I don't want to know. I don't want to. Don't make me find out.
Why don't they just like stop fighting, you guys? It's like, oh, very good. Wow,
Oh,
she solved
that's
everything.
that's how they would do it, and it would. I no, I can't do it. I hope if they do a third movie, like if we absolutely have to get one, I
Yeah.
don't want one, but if it's gonna happen because of the IP hell we live in, I hope it's just like a legal battle featuring Elle. Like
Mhm.
that's it. I would take like Anatomy of a Fall, but Elle is the defense attorney.
Or she has to like deal with her daughter being like the opposite of her. Like
Oh, true.
Her daughter's like this prim and proper girl, and she like resents her mother for being this weird valley girl stereotype.
And then she has to go to fashion school.
Ooh, yeah. She's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring the Harvard law to fashion school or something stupid like that. This sounds stupid, but I would prefer this. Yeah.
I know I keep like bringing up Anatomy of a Fall because it's like the most like recent big court drama movie to come out that I've seen at least. But like I think I think it could be cool to have like Elle as an attorney in like a more feminist case like this, because it could touch on some of that like feminism aspect of the original where she does like go against expectations. But even if it's not that, I would at least want it to be something that isn't completely dumb like this, like the second movie is, where it's like animal testing. What's that mean? I don't know. We just don't like it.
We just don't like it. Yeah. But yeah. If we truly had a choice in this matter, I would say let's not do a third one and just leave it as the second one being the worst one. Unless the spinoff is even worse, the Legally Blondes.
I saw that when I was looking on Amazon Prime. I had never heard of that beforehand. Yeah. I've heard of the musical. I hear the musical's actually pretty good. I have not seen it.
I'm like almost curious to check out the spinoff just because it looks like one of those trash Tubi movies, but I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger on actually watching it yet. I don't know if I have I don't know if I have the strength to do that at the moment.
No, after Legally Blonde 2, I was like I love the first movie so much that like I don't like seeing bad takes on this first movie that I like. It just feels bad. It's like the same reason we don't want a Back to the Future sequel. Like it wouldn't erase the original from existence, but it just feels bad to see something that's soullessly trying to get money off of it. Especially because like it came from the era where there were like the high concept original ideas. Like like not that they don't have any of those anymore, but they don't hit the zeitgeist like we were saying earlier. Like we don't get movies along the lines of Mean Girls or like Freaky Friday or Legally Blonde. We get Mean Girls the musical or Freakier Friday or Legally Blonde 3 if they do that.
Yeah. No, thank you. So
and I know Freaky Friday was like a remake, but like just the 2000s like comedies that I have the nostalgia for from being in the era of my childhood. And then like the ones before that, like the 90s and 80s original films, like we just don't get that many of that type of thing anymore.
Yeah, so I can confidently say I do not want Legally Blonde 2 on DVD or Blu-ray in my collection. I see no reason to ever watch this movie again. I didn't like it that much. It wasn't even funny bad. I don't know. I just never like occasionally there were parts where I was like, oh, that's stupid that I kind of like.
The closest they got to funny bad was the gay dog subplot. Like that is kind of a bold thing to do in 2003, having gay dogs in your movie. So I'll respect them for that. But if I wanted to watch a gay dog movie, I mean, I can't think of any others, but there's got to be something.
I don't know, what's a funny gay dog movie I can think of?
You know, there's got to be. I was trying to think of like anything I could even say it was a gay dog movie. To be funny, but I can't think of.
I'm trying to think of a good punchline, but I can't.
We'll get back to you. We'll get back.
Yeah, I'll think of it while I'm editing. I'll just be like, oh, of course. But yeah, no.
Editing in where the gay dog movie is so and so.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
there was that Seth Rogen like. What if the talking dogs were like cussing and it was all fucked up? That's the look into my twisted mind. I'm sure that has like gay dogs in it as a joke.
Oh yeah, Strays, I think it was.
Yes. Where it was like
I was about to say Good Boys, but I think that wasn't there another one where it was a bunch of children swearing that was also Seth
That
Rogen?
one was like the Seth Rogen take on like kids movies, and then this one's like then like Seth Rogen did his take on like the talking dog movies, like the kid adventure movies, and like the animated movies with Sausage Party. So he's working his way through.
He's working his way through on ruining everything.
He did a good Ninja Turtles movie. I'll give him credit for that.
I did like Mutant Mayhem. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yes.
But yeah, are you thinking of owning this in your physical collection?
No. Like the only way it would end up in my physical collection is if the only Legally Blonde DVD or Blu-ray I can find is one of those ones. It's like Legally Blonde 2-pack. It's got both movies.
Yeah.
But like because like that's what a lot of like movies of this era are bundled that way when you get the Blu-ray, but otherwise no, it's not going to end up in my collection. I'm not going to see it again unless I start donating plasma again and it's on the TV on TBS, and I'm like, well, I guess this is what I'm watching for the next like 45 minutes.
I guess I'm watching the gay dog movie again. Great.
Yep.
Cool. All right. But I guess that just about does it. Jenny, please, I think you can take this opportunity to shout out your stuff. Where can people find you?
Oh, sure, yes. And yeah, I make YouTube video essays on Jenny Geist vids if you want to type in the URL, or just Jenny Geist is my channel name. I'm on Blue Sky at, I think, just Jenny Geist. I was able to just get my username there. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm also on Patreon at Jenny Geist as well. So yeah, you can find me all these places. I've been on kind of a break from video essays, but I actually have several that are at least in production at this point. So I'll probably upload soon at some point. I have my new job I'm working through, but I definitely still want to keep getting video essay content out about like online culture and stuff. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Great. All your links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for coming on today to talk about the Legally Blonde movies. Obviously, one is vastly superior to the other,
Yes.
but I'm glad we were able to talk about it.
Thank you for having me on. It's not a movie I really like get the chance to talk about. I mean, like, where else would I talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a movie that I just genuinely like really love, and I'm glad to have a chance to say my like word on it and why the sequel is kind of poo-poo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it needed to be said, but yeah, I'm glad we got Legally Blonde out there. So thanks for coming on. Thank you everybody for listening. And wait, I got it. Cock Dog. Instead of Rock Dog, Cock Dog. That's the gay dog movie.
Oh, yes!
We did it, everybody. Cock Dog. All right.
We did it, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
From Sizzle, my Ezzle.